Summer Game Fest 2026 gave us a pretty wild snapshot of where games are heading. Darker, bigger, more nostalgic, more expensive looking, and apparently very committed to making us survive in forests, space stations, cursed cities, alien planets, and emotionally unstable fan bases. During the show, we saw horror, survival, horror survival, survival horror, and at least 3 trailers that looked like they were designed specifically to raise my blood pressure. But between all the scary, nerve-tickling stuff, we also got Souls-like energy, stylish action, RPGs, fighting games, racing games, tactics, co-op chaos, MMOs, and some seriously breathtaking comebacks. I don't want to highlight the entire show because that would turn this video into a small documentary with snacks and a survival kit. So instead, let's talk about the games that personally caught my attention. And first of all, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. This one immediately grabbed me because it is now being developed by PlatinumGames. A darker TMNT story based on The Last Ronin, plus the studio behind Bayonetta and Nier Automata? Yeah, that is dangerously interesting. The Last Ronin is not exactly the cheerful pizza party version of the Turtles. It is a much darker, lonelier story about revenge, loss, and one surviving turtle carrying the weight of everything that came before. So when the TMNT theme started, my inner child was already climbing the furniture and screaming, "Cowabunga!" This could be stylish, dramatic, emotional, and completely over the top in the best way possible. Next, Gen Atlas, or as many of us still remember it, Project Robot. This is the new game from Fumito Ueda and Gen Design, and that name alone carries a very specific kind of expectation. Ueda is the creator connected to ICO, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. These are the games you can describe with one emotional sentence: one small soul against a huge, melancholic world. These are not games that usually explain everything with a big glowing arrow and a quest log screaming at your face. They are quiet, mysterious, melancholic experiences where the world feels ancient, lonely, beautiful, and slightly bigger than your ability to understand it. ICO gave us a fragile bond between 2 characters trying to escape a strange castle. Shadow of the Colossus gave us one of the most unforgettable journeys in gaming, where every victory somehow felt like a wound. And The Last Guardian built an entire emotional experience around a boy and a giant creature that did not always listen, which, honestly, was probably the most realistic pet simulator ever created. Now Gen Atlas seems to take that Ueda feeling and move it into science fiction. A mysterious world, giant machines, a strange connection between a small human character and something massive. Very little direct explanation, a lot of atmosphere. It looks like the kind of game where I will spend 10 minutes staring at a giant robot's hand and then pretend I understood the symbolism, and I'm completely fine with that.
Come in.
Oh, shit!
The box, please.
What the hell?
You don't give up easy, eh?
Next is the Blood of Dawnwalker. I have already spoken about this game a lot, and yes, I am still very excited to experience it myself. But Summer Game Fest showed something I did not expect. We saw what looks like Cohen in the modern day, and that changes the whole picture. Before this, I expected the Blood of Dawnwalker to be focused on one dark fantasy chapter. Vampires, medieval Europe, curses, family drama, and probably at least one village where everyone is having the worst week of their lives. But now it feels like Cohen's story may not end with the first game. This could be the beginning of a much bigger saga, possibly stretching into a modern era. And that is very interesting, because it means Dawnwalker may not be just one Gothic RPG with a cool premise. It may be the first chapter of a larger story about Cohen, his curse, his powers, and whatever horrible supernatural debt is following him through history. So now I have even more questions. And that is dangerous, because I was already invested.
What do you got for me, Bennett?
Lord Silius. Coyle's been spotted meeting with local
Next,
gangsters.
Star Wars Zero Company, or as I immediately called it, Star Wars has become XCOM. A Star Wars tactical game with squad management, turn-based combat, risky decisions, and probably a lot of dramatic misses sounds like a perfect recipe for both excitement and emotional damage. Because now I am wondering, will we have the same incredible luck as in XCOM? You know the moment. The enemy is standing right in front of you. Your soldier has a 99% hit chance, and then your elite warrior somehow shoots the floor, the ceiling, 3 chairs, and maybe a random droid in the background. So yes, I am ready for Star Wars tactics. I am ready to command a squad. I am ready to make smart strategic decisions. And I am also ready to blame the Force when my best plan collapses because someone missed a shot from 2 meters away.
General Skywalker.
지금 넥서스 섹터 방향으로 가는 외선 순환 열차가 들어오고 있습니다.
The outer circle line train bound for Nexus sector is now arriving. Please wait for everyone to exit before boarding.
Next, this one really caught my attention. Stellar Blade Blood Rain. And wow, Cyberpunk may need to move slightly to the side and make some space, because this reveal had style dripping from the walls. Stellar Blade already had strong action, flashy combat, and very intense character design. Blood Rain seems to push that energy into a new direction. This sequel is currently in development, and this time we have a new protagonist named Evie, who fights with her fists instead of a sword. And I love that change. A sword gives you elegance, fists give you attitude. It immediately makes the combat feel more personal, more aggressive, and probably much more painful for everyone involved. There is no release date yet, but the reveal definitely stood out for fans of stylish action games. And yes, let's be honest, for fans of very intense character design too.
Long ago, a shadow fell upon our planet. Guided by calamity.
And finally, the big closing moment. Final Fantasy VII Revelation. The finishing part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. This closed the show like a cherry on top of the cake. Actually, not even a cherry. More like a full meteor slowly descending toward the dessert table. Final Fantasy VII Revelation got a spring 2027 release window, and the big surprise is that it is planned to launch simultaneously on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC. Which means this is not a wait a year and avoid spoilers in a bunker situation. Everyone gets in on day one, and that alone is huge. We also got new details like airship travel with the Highwind, skydiving from Cid's airship without loading screens, and new clothes and armor that affect combat abilities. Which means yes, fashion may once again be mechanically important. It has to finish the remake trilogy. It has to deal with Sephiroth. It has to pay off all the timeline weirdness. It has to bring back the emotional weight of the original Final Fantasy VII, while also justifying all the changes this remake project has been building for years. No pressure, just one of the most famous RPG stories of all time casually walking into its final chapter.
By killing her protectors. Let us put your faith to the test, Cloud.
Never would have made it this far without you guys. And I won't let you down.
So yes, Summer Game Fest 2026 had a lot. Too much horror for my blood pressure, plenty of survival, enough nostalgia to power a small emotional reactor, and several games that look extremely expensive in a please don't get delayed into another century kind of way. But for me, these were the trailers that stood out the most. TMNT, The Last Ronin. Because Dark Turtles plus PlatinumGames sounds almost illegally exciting.
The choice you make.
Gen Atlas. Because Fumito Ueda making mysterious giant robot poetry is exactly the kind of strange I want. The Blood of Dawnwalker. Because Cohen's story suddenly looks much bigger than I expected. Star Wars Zero Company. Because XCOM with lightsabers is a dangerous idea in the best way. Stellar Blade Blood Rain. Because stylish action clearly entered the room wearing combat boots. And Final Fantasy VII Revelation. Because the remake trilogy is finally heading toward its ending. Now the only real question is, which trailer stole the show for you? Because for me, this was not a full ranking. This was a survival report from my personal hype meter.